Hey everyone, it's Erin with Hail Varsity. I am not by myself today. As you can see, I am joined by Brandon Vogel, also of Hail Varsity. We are here in Aviva Stadium in Dublin, Ireland. Just finished up post-practice availability with Nebraska, so let's talk about it. We heard from defensive coordinator Erik Chinander, offensive coordinator Mark Whipple, and then a few players. We even saw a few others, but they weren't available today. But we can say they seem to be in good spirits. So let's just start with Coach Whipple. He talked a little bit about, control what you can control. We've heard that from Garrett Nelson as well. That kind of seems to be a theme, control the controllable. What did we hear from Mark Whipple today?
A good amount on Casey Thompson about, we've known for a week now that he was the starting quarterback, and a little more from Whipple on that. I think one of the key advantages with a coach like Whipple, who's done it for as long as he has, is he kind of shares the burden here. And this is a big moment for Casey Thompson. It's a big game for Nebraska on a lot of fronts, and being able to share in. He said, I'm going to make some calls I wish I had back. Hopefully there's not too many throws you guys want to have back, but those things happen. You hope that veteran presence, I think, comes through in Whipple, but that's also why Casey Thompson is here and has that start in the first game of the season.
Yeah, the one thing that for some of you who you probably know, like I shouldn't assume that anyone watching did not already know this, but Mark Whipple will be calling the plays from the sideline. They will have individuals in the box that are able to kind of give them some insight, share that down with both Whipple and Coach Frost. However, for the defense, I was just looking at the box. In fact, I don't know why I'm staring at it. You all can see it on your screens right now. But Erik Chinander did say that, they're in a bit of a different spot this time, where they would normally be in the middle of the field, able to kind of see from that angle and perspective. They're in the corner this time. So a little bit of a different situation. He wasn't overly worried about it, but it was just more of a note where he said it's just going to be a different perspective, essentially. And sorry for anyone who's there's just a lot happening right now, and it's you probably you're not realizing that, and that's okay. That is our burden to bear, not yours. So let's just talk really quick about the players that we heard from as well. We obviously know black shirts were handed out. A big one was Colton Feast. He was definitely the star. We did not hear from him today, but plenty of his teammates talked about how big of a deal that was. What did we hear about black shirts?
That was the primary takeaway for me. Luke Reimer talked about, getting the black shirt here in Ireland was a little bit different. They still just put them in their lockers, but, it had a little bit of a different feel. But Colton Feast, in-state kid, walk on, you get...
From UTAN, Nebraska. We have to be clear. Everyone kept saying from UTAN. So shout out to UTAN from Nebraska if you are from UTAN. We do not want to take away from that.
But I think it's more a culmination of the work. He's a new one. When Nebraska released the 9 black shirts that they announced, that was one that was, I don't know, I don't want to call it a surprise, but it wasn't somebody that you probably started spring practices, 7-8 months ago and said, well, there's one of your starters on the defensive line. Looks like he's going to be. So there's that piece of it as well.
Ty Robinson said, how happy that made him, how it was just a huge deal, how happy Colton was when he saw it. Obviously, in the past, they have brought former players to, share kind of in that experience. They did not bring all of those former players to Dublin, so it was a little bit of a different ceremony. I wouldn't be surprised. This is me just kind of giving my 2 cents if they don't have some kind of ceremony upon return to the United States. But Chinander also did mention that black shirts will likely continue to expand. We know that to be true. They had already given us a little bit of insight that they were only going to be given to players that were on the team last season, or previously, I should say. So any of those new players like an O'Shawn Mathis, they want them to earn it essentially on the field, so to be determined. Outside of that, it was pretty much, we asked what do you know about your team? Gabe Irvin talked about how this is a really tight group of running backs. They are very disciplined. They're excited to get going. But I think the biggest takeaway for me, they are ready to play a football game. They are ready to play against a team that is not themselves. Would you agree? Is that what was your biggest takeaway from today?
Yeah, I think that, the time change is real. That came up a lot. It came up a lot because the players were asked that specifically. But, I think to a man, and us being here, having dealt with it, at various times, Yeah, it takes a little bit to get used to. Today was Nebraska's, first real practice on site. They had like a walkthrough yesterday, and they went pretty long. It seemed, based on when we saw them in the practice field and then when we ended up doing interviews. So that was interesting. I feel like they got some good work in, and that'll be fine. It's also kind of interesting in the fact that Nebraska got out here a day earlier than Northwestern did. Northwestern got here on Wednesday morning, did a walkthrough in the stadium today and on the practice field. So we'll see. It'll be fine by Saturday, but this early in the process, you could tell the players were still like, whoa, a little bit.
Last thing I will share, because when we were saying that it felt like a lot of pandemonium is probably the word I would use. There's just a lot happening right now out of frame that you don't get to see. But the one thing that I will say that you can kind of see behind me, and this is part of the pandemonium, is we are currently seeing on basically a strip of turf that runs around the pitch, we should say, at Aviva Stadium. It is not a field, it is a pitch. But the grass is pristine. This is grass. It's pristine, and we are not allowed to step on it. So that was part of it, is making sure everyone is staying off of the grass. But it looks really nice, so we can understand why. It'll be interesting to see 300-pound linemen in cleats and what they do to this pristine grass.
If I took 2 steps backwards, we would be in trouble. You did gesture towards the box that Nebraska will be in, and I think that works, because if you just go directly behind us, you can tell that's the corner of the stadium. Nebraska's coaching staff will be up there, including coordinator Erik Chinander. So be a little bit different view than the midfield view that they're used to. So I just wanted to point out, we can do this. It works. It works because of context.
Although, as a member of the press, we do get to sit in the middle of the field. So they can just call down to us, and we can always say, this is what it looks like from our perspective, right here. Just come on down. We actually get to sit outside. Just come on down. But we will be back with even more here on Hail Varsity's YouTube channel, as well as at hailvarsity.com. Be sure that you are subscribed to our channel. You can go ahead and subscribe to Hail Varsity. We would love to have you. But again, we will have more. And I've been meaning to say this as well. Thank you to Union Bank and Trust for making all of these videos possible. You'll see that tag across all of our social channels, so thank you so much to them. Again, we will be back tomorrow. We will hear from Coach Frost, so expect to get more from that, and post-practice, pre-practice availability. Look, subscribe. Just go ahead and subscribe. We will talk to you later.